In today's explainer, we are venturing into literally one of the most unforgiving environments on the planet. Picture this. You're in a place so brutally cold that the howling wind cuts across your face like shattered glass. The air is so incredibly thin that your lungs physically ache, just begging for a fraction of oxygen. We're talking about the extreme alpine environments of the Himalayas, Central Asia, and Siberia. Out there, in this desolate, freezing, and seemingly empty landscape, you'd probably feel entirely alone. But let me tell you, make no mistake, something is watching you. Who on earth is watching you in minus 40-degree weather, right? You scan the jagged cliffs, you look out over those endless snow-swept ridges, squinting against the blinding glare of the ice, and you see absolutely nothing. It looks like a complete lifeless void. Yet the hairs on the back of your neck stand up because you can practically feel an invisible presence locking eyes with you. Well, it's not just any ordinary animal. It's the absolute apex predator of the high altitudes. A creature so impossibly elusive and so flawlessly adapted to this brutal, jagged terrain that locals have given it a legendary nickname. They call it the mountain ghost. To really understand this ghost, you have to grasp the sheer massive scale of its kingdom. Because the snow leopard doesn't just barely survive in these extremes, it absolutely thrives. Its domain is sprawling, stretching across 12 different countries, weaving right through borders in India, Nepal, Mongolia, and Tibet. And we are not talking about gentle rolling hills here. We're talking about dizzying, terrifying elevations climbing up to an agonizing 5,000 meters. To put that into perspective, that is roughly 16,000 feet above sea level. It's a deadly vertical world made of crumbling rock, plunging gorges, and razor-sharp cliffs where humans rarely, if ever, dare to tread. So here is the ultimate question for you. Can you spot it? Take a really close look. Somewhere in those rocks, a snow leopard is staring right back at you. I'm going to give you a second to just scan the terrain. Did you find it? It's incredibly difficult, isn't it? Honestly, don't feel bad if you can't see a thing. Even professional wildlife photographers, people who have dedicated literally years of their lives to this, who spend months freezing in blinds out in the wild, they often look right past them because these cats are absolute masters of an ancient illusion. The secret behind this magical disappearing act comes down to one incredible biological feature, and those are its rosettes. These unique gray and yellowish white, rose-like markings scattered all over their thick coats aren't just there to look pretty. They serve a vital, life-saving purpose. They perfectly mimic the fractured rocks, the shifting shadows, and the patchy snow of their harsh environment. It's the ultimate camouflage, refined by millions of years of evolution. Honestly, if a snow leopard crouches down and sits completely still among the loose rocks, it can remain completely invisible to the human eye, even if you are standing literally 10 feet away from it. But here's the thing, survival out here requires way more than just hiding. It requires absolute biological mastery over the elements. To conquer this insane terrain, the snow leopard possesses 3 distinct biological superpowers. Put them together, and they form the complete anatomy of a ghost, allowing this apex predator to hunt, sleep, and navigate in the most unforgiving terrain on Earth. It all comes down to incredibly thick fur, a tail that acts as a highly tuned biological gyroscope, and paws that function exactly like natural snowshoes. Let's break those down. It all starts with the number 5. Because in the bitter, freezing depths of the mountain winter, a snow leopard's fur grows up to 5 inches thick on its belly and sides. Just think about that level of heavy-duty insulation for a second, and it pairs perfectly with their unusually small, rounded ears, which sit flat against their heads just to minimize frostbite and heat loss. This dense, luxurious coat acts like a furnace, trapping their body heat. It keeps their core temperature perfectly stable, even when the outside world drops to a deadly minus 40 degrees. And then we have what is probably one of their most fascinating multi-purpose features, the 3-foot biological gyroscope. Their thick, heavy tail is almost as long as their entire body. So imagine a snow leopard sprinting at 50 miles per hour across a vertical 40-degree ice-licked rock face to chase down a meal. This massive tail whips through the air to maintain perfect balance. It's a highly dynamic, built-in counterweight that literally keeps them from tumbling into the abyss. And the best part? When the hunt is finally over and they need to rest in the freezing cold, they actually wrap this plush tail around their face and nose. It works as a built-in thermal blanket to warm up the icy air before they even breathe it in. How cool is that? Next up, just look at their paws. Snow leopards have these exceptionally wide, oversized paws. They're much larger in proportion to their bodies than what you'd see on a wolf, a tiger, or a regular leopard. and they function exactly like natural snowshoes. By distributing their heavy body weight across a much wider surface area, these massive paws prevent the cat from sinking chest deep into soft, powdery snow. Plus, the bottoms of their feet are covered in thick cushions of fur. That gives them intense traction, letting them glide almost effortlessly over the frozen surface while they're chasing down incredibly agile prey. So, all of these amazing biological superpowers culminate in the most thrilling event in the mountains, the physics of the hunt. Because hunting on a sheer cliff face is entirely different from hunting on a flat, grassy savanna, right? One wrong step, just one minor slip, means a fatal plunge of thousands of feet. So the snow leopard uses a highly calculated, high-stakes, three-step strategy. Step 1, they always approach from above. They use gravity to their advantage, because mountain prey naturally look down the slopes for danger, almost never up. Step 2, they use that incredible rosette camouflage to close the distance in agonizing, perfectly silent steps, getting within 60 to 100 feet. And step 3, well, that's the leap. 50. That is the number of feet a snow leopard can clear in a single, gravity-defying bound. They can leap 50 feet long and up to 20 feet high in the air. Let me put that in perspective. That is the rough equivalent of jumping entirely across a busy intersection from the third story of a building. And the craziest part? The hunt doesn't end magically when they make contact. Predator and prey instantly lock together, often violently tumbling down the jagged, sheer rock faces, rolling over sharp stones at terrifying speeds. Yet the leopard's incredibly flexible muscular structure and super durable bones absorb all these brutal impacts, allowing it to hold on and secure the kill without breaking itself to pieces. It's just unbelievable. So what exactly are they risking their lives to catch in these death-defying drops? Well, their primary targets are the blue sheep, which are also known as the baral, the deeply horned ibex, and the rugged Himalayan tahr. Now, these animals are equally sure-footed. They are masters of the cliffs in their own right, which is exactly why the chase is so incredibly dangerous and unpredictable. But the reward? The reward is immense. Just one successful kill of an animal this size provides a massive caloric payout. It gives the snow leopard enough sustenance to fuel itself in this deadly barren terrain for an entire week. But despite all of this immense power, the agility, and the sheer majesty, there's a distinctly melancholic reality to the life of the mountain ghost. 500. That is the upper limit of square kilometers a single snow leopard might patrol as its territory. And they do it entirely alone. They are deeply solitary creatures, wandering in absolute isolation. They only come together very briefly to mate or for a mother to raise her cubs. Otherwise, they're wandering these massive, wind-blasted expanses of rock and ice completely by themselves, leaving scent markings and deep scratchings on rocks just to signal to other unseen ghosts in the mist to stay away. And this actually brings us to a brilliant piece of biological irony. When you think of an invincible big cat, the undisputed king of its domain, you naturally expect a thunderous, terrifying roar that echoes across the landscape, right? But unlike lions and tigers who possess a specialized, heavily adapted larynx structure to project those booming calls, the snow leopard is completely missing it. They absolutely cannot roar. No way. Instead, the fiercest predator of the high mountains makes a soft, raspy, non-aggressive sound called a chuff, or sometimes even just a high-pitched meow. In the vast, freezing silence of the mountains, this deadly ghost makes almost no sound at all. Unfortunately, we need to shift gears to a much more somber reality right now. The greatest hunter of the high altitudes is currently fighting a brutal uphill war for its very survival. They're facing two massive mounting threats. First, there's the rapid acceleration of climate change. It's causing the alpine snows and ancient glaciers to melt, fragmenting and shrinking their natural, high-altitude habitat at a truly alarming rate. And second, as their natural prey base dwindles in these changing conditions, snow leopards are sometimes forced down into the valleys to hunt domestic livestock. And you can guess what happens next. This leads to tragic human conflict, where local shepherds who are just desperate to protect their solely livelihoods hunt and kill the leopards in retaliation. Which leads us directly to this devastating and urgent statistic. 4,000 to 7,000. That is the estimated total number of snow leopards left in the wild across the entire globe. Just think about that. It is a critically low population spread impossibly thin across vast mountain ranges. The ghosts of the mountains is slowly, quietly fading away. If urgent global conservation efforts aren't heavily prioritized to protect their habitats and crucially to work alongside local farming communities to prevent those retaliatory killings, this incredible, totally irreplaceable species could disappear entirely from our world. The thing is, the snow leopard is far more than just a fascinating animal. It's a crucial keystone species that actively maintains the delicate balance of these extreme high-altitude ecosystems. Their survival is deeply tied to the health of the mountains, and ultimately, our survival too. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Knowing how rare, how perfectly adapted, and how incredibly fragile their existence truly is, would you want to see this ghost in real life? Think about what it takes to ensure they remain in the wild, stalking the snowy ridges for generations to come. Thank you so much for joining me for today's explainer, and keep learning.